everybody. I'm glad to welcome you, Dij. This is Dij Ferreira. He has a solo show going on this weekend at Oceanus, New York at 30 Wall Street on the second floor. Dij, thank you so much for being here today. Um, we've had short conversations in the past, and
Mhm.
I know that I went to visit you at the studio where you are, and I walked away really amazed with your work and the style. So during today's talk, I'd like for you to let us all know more about
Mhm.
how you started with this series of dock drawing. Because personally, I had
Mhm.
never encountered dock drawing before, labeled that way,
Mhm.
and it's quite an interesting subject.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, doc drawing, it's a project I start to do now almost 6 years ago. And in the beginning was something like for me, I was in the point in my life trying to make art again. And I believe in the beginning, when I was trying to practice and keeping my drawings and paintings alive again, the intention behind that was more like to understand my feelings and emotions. And for me, during that time, I trust like art should be a nice path for me to better understand my mental flow. And yeah, it was a good thing because during that time I had a hard moment. So my was the time when my mom she got a sick, and she stayed in coma for a few days. And during that process, I noticed and realized one of the things like helping me a lot was keeping drawing. You know what I mean? Kind of do one kind of art every day.
Mhm.
And for me was one something like kind of meditation, was something like to keep in my mind in the present moment. And I stop to think about what's gonna be, what's gonna happen with her in the future. You know what I mean? What we don't know, especially during this coma situation, it's very sensitive. So after she passed away, was the moment in my life I really realized what art means for me. And yeah, for me, art it's my medicine. It's the way I have to better understand myself.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's for me means my therapy. It's my way to breathe, to breathe, to keep in my mind in the present moment. And probably after 2 years ago wasn't the moment like I had this feeling to start to go outside and keep in drawing. And then I saw something like, okay, I'm here enjoying the moment and creating some drawings. And then many kind of months ago, I realized, okay, I think this is more a documentation. Now it's not only a documentation about me and my feelings, but it starts to be a documentation about people, countries, culture. You know what I'm saying? It's a very interesting tool for documentation because every single piece I put in the wall tonight, it's a one through story about New York. That's not something like I was in my house kind of looking for
Mhm.
emails on the computer and then I made something. No, I was that living the moment, and at the same time bringing this documentation about that moment was kind of special and important for me. And these drawings happen in many different situations, kind of, during my travels here around New York, kind of parties, moments when I was in the subway, squares, birthday parties. It's a many, many, many different stories. And if you look in the labels, you can see the titles, and where the story happened before. But all of
Right.
this is one of a piece of documentations about, especially New York tonight.
What a fantastic way of documenting your journey and where you've been. I don't know if it's happened to other people in this room, but there are so many places I've been to, and you forget. after a couple of years, oh yeah, I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have that photograph or that memory, that pops up
Mm-hmm.
in Facebook now, or if you don't look through your old photo album, you'll forget. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, oh that's right, I was there, or this happened. What a great way to memorialize where you've been and what you've done and who you've met and how you felt.
Mm-hmm.
I find that so interesting. And I was walking around before and thinking to myself, there are a couple of pieces.
Mm-hmm.
If you could elaborate a little bit more on them.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you said that there were some where you sat at an artist drawing studio or artist cafe
Mm-hmm.
in Brooklyn. Which ones were those?
Um,
And how was it for you? I mean, did people come up to you and like
you know,
influence it or like just
mm,
ask you questions while you were
mhm.
doing it?
So I think always will be different the situation. I think especially about the technique. I think the technique add for the work a little kind of extra layer about something because I think the technique to draw holding the brush in my mouth now
Yes.
for almost 10 years.
That was my next question.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's all is have been 10 years and still doing this and I can still see people being interested for the technique, create on people questions and inspiring people and the technique can bring something extra, can bring this extra layer of curiosity. You know what I mean?
That's
Why
right.
are you doing that? What are you feeling when you use your mouse to draw in the painting? What that represent for you? And for me, represent a lot of things. And I believe after kind of many years, I saw how this technique became for me a symbol of my freedom. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Because it's not about be perfect, but it is something like about uh, I get at one point in myself like okay I have this middle this is in the middle and that kind of I can don't need to go right or left but it's in the middle and then that gave me something new and fresh about myself I never imagined before and
Right.
was just a feeling like I want to keep and follow this technique because every day this technique can deliver something new from myself.
And I can imagine if you're doing that, like these muscles here must get like a good workout, right?
Hmm.
I mean, because he's literally manipulating the brush on the pad or the canvas to create what you see in front of you.
Hmm.
And I just can't even imagine how the control that
Hmm.
you've developed to be able to do something like that. That's
Mm.
really, really quite special
Mm.
and awesome.
Uh, also, I feel like it's for me it represents more about uncontrol because when I'm on this technique together doing something,
Mhm.
it's so free, it's so relief, it's kind of about no control. It's a place
Okay.
where I just kind of just let my body, my mouth to make
Wow.
the thing happen. You know what I mean? It just
Right.
kind of freedom space inside to my head. It's kind of
Mm.
about no control. You know what I mean? I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm curious to see what's gonna emerge in the paper later. You know what I
Love
mean?
it. Love it. And you also have a couple of things coming up. You have the documentary coming up
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be launched next week, actually, right?
Yeah, next week.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
This documentary for me, I think, represents a lot because it's one documentary. We made everything in New York, and I don't know. I didn't see the full documentary already. I'm gonna see it during the premiere
Okay.
as well. But I saw the trailer, the teaser, and I cried because for me it was kind of opportunity to to see all of this in another point of view, to see myself in a way I never imagined. What's the person I became now? You know what I'm saying? After almost 10 years, kind of practicing every day with this compromise to never let my art disappear again. You know what I'm saying? This
Mhm.
compromise to live my art through my art, to embrace my art and the be art all the time. You know what I mean?
And you certainly are. I mean, you command such a presence when you walk into a room because you are the living, walking art that you create. I mean, your outfits you create, the hat, the monocle, I mean, it's all the glasses, excuse me,
Mhm.
everything. It's like just, oh yeah, that's it. Hey, you know, like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think for me now, after 10 years, I'm one point with myself totally different than the past. If I met Jiggy 15 years ago, is gonna be another person and very different. But now I'm just following my intuition and this compromise to uh, try to do what I want to do and
Mhm.
and express myself the better way I can. And I think the best way I can express myself will be through my art. So yeah, that's about for me. You know what I mean? So these glasses is an extension of my eyes. So the gloves, it's an extension of my skin.
Mhm.
So the hat, it's an extension of my head. It's a kind of things I can keep and transform myself and see myself in the ways I never imagined. And that's another point I believe about intuitive art because every single piece I brought tonight was born through intuitive moment. It's not
Okay.
kind of concept before.
Mhm.
I didn't have this time to overthink to create something. It
Right.
was just at the moment. Mhm.
Tell me a little bit about these pieces again, because what the day that I visited you at that the Be Happy studio
Mhm.
on the Bowery, um, I saw them and I was just so also enamored with the colors and the design.
Mhm. Well, since the beginning, I was always drawing. So draw is my first media, but after 2 years, when I decided to do art kind of full time, I had this opportunity to bring the abstractionism from my work and then more colors as well. But in the beginning, I start to use fabrics and clothes like a canvas,
Mhm.
and then just almost 5 years later, I had opportunity to bring the same technique for paper on paper. And then I got very impressed because I never imagined what kind of result is going to be on paper. But that's one of these moments, like intuitive. And I think this work, I don't have exactly concept, but I have this like more conscious about this process, especially with this color palette, the primary colors I really love. And I just kind of years later, I think the art piece told me a little bit about what is this. And
Mhm.
then today I can see uh, a very interesting mix about you can see America, US, because we have this strong red and the blue together. And then you can see yellow that can represent a lot New York, but also that can represent my country, Brazil, because it's the warm color, is the yellow color you can see in the Brazil flag as well. And then, I never imagined all this concept, but the concept just came before. The concept told me before, what is that? I had this
Right.
conversation with this piece, and then I start to see, oh, I can feel that.
Mhm.
I can feel America. I can feel Brazil. I can feel New York, and that maybe this painting represents for me a little bit this.
Mhm.
And then in the end
Wow.
of the last year, I brought the same color palette, but for clothes, and I forged uh, Armo, I put the name Primary Captain American because Primary Captain America, it is,
Right.
you know what I mean? And people kind of who know me can see a lot of on my style, like the military style. You can see all this influence I have on my clothes as well. But Primary Captain America, that's represent all of this from me. That's represent Brazil, America. That's represent the military force. That's
Hmm.
represent all these conflicts about also immigration, and all these
Well,
topics.
you see
So,
all the crossroads in there too, right?
hmm,
All like everything coming together, but and then like that dark shadow in the background, kind of like
hmm,
looming over everything right
yeah,
in there. I mean, there's a lot that can be read into these. They're amazing.
yeah. And for me, it's more about what are you feeling when you're looking for this piece, than what that mean. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna tell you that's what it
Hmm.
represent exactly, but it's not what you're seeing, but it's more about what you're feeling. You know what I
Right,
mean? And
right.
let the piece make this conversation with you. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. I'm just amazed. So now, let me ask you a question. How many of these docs have you made over the years, do you think? I
Um,
Because I just sit there and I went, wow, there must be a lot, a lot
yeah.
of them.
Yeah,
I
I
love
don't.
them.
Uh-huh. I don't know exactly, but probably now I think I have more than maybe, I don't know, 1,000 drawings in
Whoa.
different
I
kind of.
see a nice book coming out of this. I
Hmm.
mean, wow,
Yeah,
amazing.
because this new series on Canvas, that's something new for me because I haven't been doing this technique, making this technique just only on paper, and making on Canvas for me was something new, and that was something like, okay, everything I can make it on Canvas now about drawing only is gonna be for kind of galleries, institutions, and museums,
Mhm.
and everything I can make on paper that can be a line I can sell online, kind of live commerce, kind
True.
of internet. Because for me, that's the way I have been making my business as well. Like, how can I make my art more accessible?
Okay.
And at the same time, you know what I mean, keeping the desire and the strategic to, yeah, put this work in big galleries and big institutions, because the power this work has is something I not realize completely, by something like it is something, you know what I
Because
mean?
there
Mhm.
is storytelling in
Yeah.
each of these pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, everybody carries their own interpretation
Mm-hmm.
of what we look at, and we carry our own narratives, right, of
Mm-hmm.
our lives.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look, different people are going to look at these, whether they're in an institution or
Mm-hmm.
at a school or somewhere, and they're going to look and they're going to say, oh, and they're going to make their own narrative, say their own narrative, like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, that makes me remember when, da 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 da
Mm-hmm.
da.
Yeah.
So I
Mm-hmm.
really commend you for doing this and
Mm-hmm.
bringing, doing this exploration of yourself and your experiences out here and documenting them this way. Where, if people want to look at more of your arts and purchase your art, where would they go to?
So now I believe the main way people can access my work and have more informations will be on Instagram, because Instagram I really like to use like a portfolio. You guys going to see a very strong curate work about image, like behind the scenes
Yes.
kind of works and collaborations I made with photographers before, and kind of old projects. It's a very well done, curate portfolio on Instagram.
Mhm.
So my Instagram is DIGFERREIRA, Jig Ferreira. That's accent from Brazil. Or you guys can say Dig Ferreira as well. This American accent. And then yeah, so on Instagram also you guys are going to see the link for uh, another online page where you guys can take access about all another informations like officially website. I have two websites, emails, and another portfolios in the first documentary as well. And yeah, and also email, cell phone. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
where is, let's let everyone know where your documentary is being launched next week.
Oh yeah. So next week we'll be at Safira Ventura Gallery. It's a gallery here in Manhattan. Thursday, February 20th. It's gonna start between 5 and kind of 9. But we are going to to show the documentary around at 7:30. If you guys are around, show up. We are going to have the drinks and a little food for for the
Okay.
guests. And I think it's gonna be a beautiful night. It's special for me. I think it's gonna be a night for celebration. I'm very curious to see the documentary as well
Yeah.
because I don't know. I think that will show me a lot about things I never saw before in myself.
And
And
we should give a shout out to your producer,
yeah, his name is Usman. Okay,
Media.
Nor Media Studios. Yeah.
So shout out to Noir Media
Mhm.
for like bringing your history to life and
Yeah, yeah. I
documenting
feel
it.
so blessed because for 10 years I have a people. I can see people following me and creating this kind of beautiful photos. And now the second documentary about my work is such a blast. Have this opportunity, especially because the first one and the second documentary, it's a very high quality documentary material. They kind of putting a lot of uh, uh, time and a dedication to create something good. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So it's
Okay.
such a blast for me for sure. Mhm.
Wow, wow. And it's a blessing for us to have your art inside of Oceanus, New York. Thank you so much.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you for having me, and for
Um,
me, it's an honor to be here. And yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
always. So I'm going to open up the floor. If anybody has any questions, now would be the time for Q&A. Any questions about the technique that was used on the pieces that you're seeing in front of you, or about Digis history yourself? Any
So you
questions?
use your mouth?
Yeah.
So you put a paintbrush between your teeth and you move your head and you
Hmm.
make this beautiful work?
Yeah, exactly.
That's absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
Why did you choose to do that though?
Uh,
What pushed you in that direction?
to resume, so almost 10 years ago, when my mom she passed away, I was in this point, kind of trying to draw again, and you know, I think one of the things I believe, meditation brought something very interesting and special for my life, especially this tradition I have been following for almost 12 years, Zazen. It's a Zazen meditation. It's kind of starts in China, but after moved to Japan. And in Zazen, they have not this only philosophy, but this kind of intention, like you have to practice every day, because that's will be the only way to keep the connections alive in your mind, to keep the things kind of is going on. And then I start not to read about this philosophy, but to kind of, okay, how I'm going to put what I'm learning in practice. And then I realized, like, oh, I can do the same thing. I have been trying to make my meditation every day, so I can try to draw a little bit every day, and then let's see what's gonna happen. So in the beginning, I start with my left hand, and then in the first movement, I got kind of scary because I felt like, oh, I think this hand it's alive. I gotta kind of yeah movements and the feelings through this part of my body totally different I never had before. And then I had opportunity to try my feet and then my mouth
Got it.
and all this experiment. I spent probably 5 6 months, and
Okay.
after that I just stood for myself. You know what? I will keep it drawing a painting, holding the brush in my mouth, and I never stop it. And now it's almost 10 years doing this technique.
So you were not left hand dominant, you were righty?
I'm writing.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay, that's
So-
interesting.
So was that a combo of exercises I was doing the beginning to try to take myself out of my duality and
Okay.
then keep practicing every day. Mhm.
Got it, got it. And that's actually very good for your brain, to
Mhm.
challenge yourself like that, to
Mhm.
use the different parts of your body. I tried that a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
and I said, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna make a portrait
Mhm.
of a woman. I'm gonna start her upside down with my right hand.
Mhm.
And like the result was a very surrealist type of movement because I'm not a righty, I'm a lefty. And it was upside down, but I actually got the proportions better than if it would have been the other way around. So I don't know what was going on, but
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly the point when you start to explore different part of your body. Will be like, I don't know what's gonna happen, and then that's gonna open a window inside of your mind of peace because you don't know what's gonna happen. So at the same time, you will not have a lot of expectations about it. So you just
Correct.
can keep doing more free.
Right. I kept telling myself it's only paper. I can replace paper, right? But yeah, you don't. And you know what? This is life. We never have control actually over what we think we do, and it's a good lesson to learn. Just to kind of go with the flow and do our best. Do our best and see what happens.
Yeah, and I think sometimes the technique can bring you like the opportunity and skills to build some idea you want to represent in your painting or in your drawings, but it's a very dangerous at the same time because you need to keep in your mind in a point of observation very conscious like, okay, I know this technique but I don't need to try to make everything through the technique, but the technique can kind of guide myself but I don't need to be attached of the result about the technique, you know what I
Right.
mean? Mhm.
Right. So, does anyone have any other questions for now? No.
How do you load the paintbrush?
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you-
How do you?
Do you load it with it in your mouth, or do you use your hands for that part?
Oh,
Like when you load the paint, or you put the paint on the brush, do you scoop it up, or do you take it out and like?
I mean to
Like the thing that you do with your hand.
oh yeah, I sometimes just keep in my mouth just like chum, chum, chum.
That's
Right.
incredible.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. I'm impressed, man. I am impressed. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So this is, did not say your name, Didge, because I said Didge, and you say Didgy.
So it's a complicated name in the U.S. So the accent is from Brazil. Is gonna be jig.
Jig.
Yeah, but dig here also can be dig. So
Right.
Yeah, dig or jig.
Okay. Got that, folks? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Did.
Ah, boy.
And, and as a Hispanic woman, for your lesson, I say Ferreira.
Mhm.
That's how I would say it.
Well,
So,
don't worry about it.
yeah, I love it. I love it now because, your name's going to go down in history. This is amazing.
Oh, thank
So
you.
we need to know it the right way.
Thank
Yes.
you. Mhm.
All right. Well,
She has-
yes.
I was just wondering, when you use color, is it always the primary colors?
Not now. I have been doing more, using more the primary color palette. But now I have a many different combinations. I have purples, greens. Yeah, I have been using all the colors.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, like here you can see more kind of. The glove was yellow, but I just brought black, and here the jacket was totally black, and I brought tones of yellow and some white. So the boot was totally black, and I just brought white on top of. So yeah, it's now I have been using more and more colors.
and I like your precision in terms of the circles and the lines are so straight. I just can't imagine,
Yeah.
using that technique.
Oh, the abstract painting is a different technique. I have stencils and prints to do this technique and spray painting.
Oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
this is and that by hand. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful.
it's very impressive and encouraging.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you again so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having
All
me.
right. And thank you, Liz Narati, for videotaping and gonna edit this and yes.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Good job.